This is architect Sikandar Ajam. Welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of my series regarding the earthquake, and we'll be delving deeper into the phenomena of the recent earthquakes which have hit Karachi. So specifically regarding Karachi, there are a number of fault lines close to Karachi. The largest one is the Landi fault line. That is very close to Karachi. But the Karachi earthquakes, they dissipate energy, and the focal depth of these earthquakes is not much, so there is not too much shaking going on. There is a release of energy from the fault lines. But there are a number of fault lines in the country. I have to talk about it because the Karachi fault line is not an isolated phenomenon. We have the Gabbar fault line in the northern areas of Pakistan. We have the Chaman fault line. It is 850 kilometers, and this is where the tsunami came in 1945. The earthquake was 8.1 Richter on the Richter scale, so it was the Chaman fault line. Then we have the Eurasian, the Afghan block. We have the Arabian block. We have the Indian Arabian block. So all these blocks are there, and when these blocks start moving and when energy comes up, then we have tremors and we have shaking. Recently, Karachi did experience an earthquake, and the most significant damage which took place was the wall of the Karachi prison was demolished, and more than 200 prisoners escaped, of which I think 100 have been captured again. Now, for the architects, the lesson needs to be learned that what is the factor when we are designing, what is the classification, what figure does a structural engineer have to take. Like Islamabad is in zone 2B, Lahore in zone 2A, Karachi has been recently classified in zone 2B, but I feel that it is underclassified because certain areas of Karachi are close to 3, the closer they go to the fault line. So the 2B is also, I feel, is underclassified, and maybe it is to help the developers to put less amount of reinforcement and do less amount of detailing. So, especially for high-rise building, architects have to be very careful as to what codes their structural engineer is using, because these fault lines are very close. The Landi fault line is pretty close to Karachi. Further, I'd like to say that Karachi is situated on a passive tectonic margin. The Landi fault line is called a passive tectonic margin, which means that it's not a very active, fault line, and the soil only moves, or the plates only move when there is dissipation of energy. In Karachi, the question generally is asked, what happens to the building which are not designed to be earthquake resistant? So should we go towards retrofitting those buildings? Again, there's the call of the structural engineer. I retrofitted buildings up in the northern areas in Dirkot, which also lies pretty close to the fault line and which is in zone 4. So what we did was this: my structural engineer was from the States. There were existing buildings, doctors' residences, which were not earthquake resilient. So among other things, among other structural improvement, we even wrapped reinforced concrete belt around the structure so they could be contained. So there are other methods also to improve these structures. And Karachi should go through a process where the taller buildings are. The structural engineer, the architect should jointly form a team, find out how resilient they are according to the earthquake, and what can be done about it to retrofit them. Thank you for listening to me.